Hello? That was an absolute bloodbath. An 8-7 victory for the Buffalo Sabres at home over the Tampa Bay Lightning? Now, while this game might come across as a pretty normal one at first glance, it just happened to have been a high-scoring game. Sometimes games go 8-7. Sometimes, right? That only seems that way because we haven't taken a look at the rest of this game. Because this just finished up, and I think a lot of the hockey world needs to take a little bit of a second to breathe. Because not only did we see ourselves 15 goals scored in this hockey game, not only did we see ourselves multiple point showcases out of guys like Darren Raddysh, Nikita Kucherov, Tage Thompson, Bowen Byram, and Rasmus Dahlin, but we also saw penalties. And I wanted to go out there and read to you the list of the penalties as follows. So, penalties in the first period of Tampa Bay versus Buffalo on this Sunday, March 8th. 4:36, Darren Raddysh, 2 minutes for slashing Alex Tuch. 4:36, Brandon Hagel, 2 minutes for boarding Tage Thompson. 4:36, Darren Raddysh, 5 minutes for fighting Rasmus Dahlin. 4:36, Rasmus Dahlin, 5 minutes for fighting Darren Raddysh. 8:20, Erik Cernak, 2 minutes for interference on Josh Norris. 8:54, Sam Carrick, 5 minutes for fighting Scott Sabourin. Scott Sabourin, 8:54, 5 minutes for fighting Sam Carrick. 9:13, Charles-Edouard Daou, 2 minutes for roughing Bowen Byram. 9:13, Bowen Byram, 2 minutes for roughing Charles-Edouard Daou. 9:13, Brandon Hagel, 5 for fighting on Krebs. 9:13, Peyton Krebs, 5 for fighting Brandon Hagel. 9:13, Bowen Byram, 10-minute misconduct. 9:13, Charles-Edouard Daou, 10-minute misconduct. 10:40, Mattias Samuelsson, 2 minutes for slashing Nikita Kucherov. 10:40, Nikita Kucherov, 2 minutes for slashing Mattias Samuelsson. 14:59, Erik Cernak, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct on Michael Kesselring. 14:59, Michael Kesselring, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike on Erik Cernak. 16:41, Noah Östlund, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike on the goalie Jonas Johansson, and that was just in the first. What the hell? Second period. Kesselring, Cernak, Corey Perry, Mallenstein, all in the first 6 seconds of the game. McDonough, Hagel, Power. And then in the third period, Girgensons and Chiarelli. That's it. What in the absolute hell was that? Oh my gosh! Look at the power plays. Power play percentage. Tampa Bay was 1 for 2, 50%. Buffalo was 4 for 7, 57%. 57 penalty minutes to 45 over here for Buffalo. We had ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, a 102 penalty minute game. 41 hits on Tampa's side, 27 on the Buffalo Sabres, and we haven't even spoken about the goals. Let's go out there and ignore all of this for now and just talk about some of the actual moments that we had seen. Because Brandon Hagel going out there and roughing it up with Rasmus Dahlin obviously was getting the highlight here. Rasmus Dahlin is mouthing off at Hagel in front of the Sabres' goal. You could see Hagel getting pissed off. He then starts wailing at Dahlin. Dahlin's trying to go away, but Hagel's got his chin just kind of strapped and ragged onto him. He's holding on to the guy's front, and then he starts wailing on his backside. I saw people kind of talking about this situation right here, similar to the Tyler Bertuzzi, Steve Moore incident. Oh, he's punching the guy in the back of his head. And while I don't think that the result was as serious as the Bertuzzi Moore incident, I can kind of see where they're coming from, honestly. This was definitely not a peaceful encounter between these two cool individuals. and they definitely weren't cool-headed in the moment. You could even see the goaltender, UPL, getting in there and trying to stand up for his guy in this scrum. But this is just a preview of the rough stuff that we had seen all game. Rasmus Dahlin ends up with this helmet off. This is like the youngest that Dahlin has looked since 2018. I'm serious, man. Not to mention the fact that this game was filled with ups and downs with the actual goals and assists, but this is how everything looks after just 2 periods of play. I mean, ridiculous, isn't it? Did I miss something where these two suddenly hate each other? I'm not gonna lie, Buffalo has always played us pretty hard for whatever reason. Obviously, this year they're a good team, but even during our cup years, they would play us pretty well. Hockey is the greatest sport on the planet. When did Buffalo join the Battle of Florida? Now, let's actually talk about the goals and the dynamic of the game as it went down. Because in the first period, despite all those penalties, the only goal was scored by Josh Doan, his 20th of the season, one of the big pieces in return for the JJ Peterka trade. So, obviously, it's nice to see him having the great season he has had with this Buffalo Sabres squad. Vibes are immaculate. They're winning a ton of games. As Tage Thompson goes back over to Bowen Byram, over to Doan, he comes in, he shoots, and he scores. Jason Zucker makes it 2-0 on a power play advantage goal, so yet another power play marker for this Sabres team. Tage Thompson goes over to Dahlin, he sends it over to the side, and Zucker with the 1T is able to snap it by. Alex Tuch then makes it 3-0 Buffalo on the power play. Tage Thompson goes back over to Noah Östlund, back over to Thompson. He then sends it into the middle. There's that shot, and it's tipped out in front. So, really nice play there from Alex Tuch. Before none other than Corey Perry gets things going for the Tampa Bay Lightning around the halfway mark of this second period. Honestly, from an on-ice perspective and goals and assists point of view, the fact that Tampa scored their first goal of the game 7 minutes into the second and ended up with 7 total goals is kind of ridiculous. And the fact is, I actually ended up getting UPL in my fantasy league, so this performance, oh boy, that's not good. But Corey Perry ends up scoring in straight games after being acquired by the Tampa Bay Lightning. Radish goes up to Kucherov, who then throws it over to Perry, drives the net, he shoots and he scores. It's a really nice little play there. Alex Tuch then scores a shorthanded backhander to restore the 3-goal lead. Look at Tuch cutting wide on the defenseman, coming in on the rush, and then he's able to swing it right by the Tampa Bay goaltender. That's when Nikita Kucherov ends up getting his 33rd of the NHL season. And then you have Zemgus Girgensons and JJ Moser and Nikita Kucherov again, who's able to get it to go. Brayden point gives Tampa Bay a 6-4 lead. That's ridiculous, man. It was a 4-1 Buffalo lead earlier in the game. From 4-1 to down 6-4. Because Brayden Point is able to get an own goal. Definitely not what the Sabres were intending to do, but I think it might have been Owen Power or Bowen Byram that put it into his own net. But then you start to see the comeback. Sam Carrick brings the Sabres within 1. Brandon Hagel increases the lead 7-5. Rasmus Dahlin brings it within 1, Jason Zucker ties it up, and then you have Josh Doan again, the guy who started it, is able to end it. He breaks it 8-7, and that's with 5 minutes to go in the third. What an absolute circus of a game this was. And that's not even talking about all the specific elements of interpersonal battles and other things that went on in this contest. Tage Thompson ends up with 4 points. I'm a pretty sad camper because even though Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen got the win, a .750 save percentage is definitely not the right way to go about things. With that said, though, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this Mortal Kombat win that we saw out of the Buffalo Sabres 8-7 over the Tampa Bay Lightning? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.